So during the war, students, they anticipated that Hiroshima would be bombed at some time. It was a military facility. It wasn't a big military production area, but there were some factories, and there was a big military headquarters here. The Japanese thought, not such a big military target, but it hadn't been bombed, and they were anticipating they would be. So they brought in middle school and high school students from the countryside to come in and build fire breaks, you know, clear areas to stop fire should they take place. And also some of them worked in industry. And many of them were killed. Thousands of them were killed, you know, in the atomic bombing. So we should walk our bikes down here. We have a relief down here. Of course, the cranes that school children have left. And the scenes behind the memorial show some of the activities that students have. Would you like to know the story of this monument? Speak English?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to know the background?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. During the latter part of the war, Hiroshima had not been bombed. And it was not a major manufacturing area, but it was the military headquarters. Hiroshima Castle was the military headquarters for this area of Japan. And they anticipated it would be bombed, so they brought in high school kids and middle school kids to do several things. One of them was to build fire breaks in the city, to tear down, you know, paths, clear them of everything to keep fire from spreading from one area to the city to the other in the event of bombing, which they fully expected. Some of them were engaged in industry, and there was some war industry here, although it wasn't a major center. Nagasaki, for example, was a major center of war manufacturing. And so many thousands of these students were, of course, killed in the atomic bombing. This is a memorial to them. And this scenes in the back show some of the activities that school children schoolboys mainly, were involved in. And these paper cranes are, of course, tributes to from mainly school students around the world, a memorial, and hope that nothing like this will ever happen again. Did you see the monument to Sadako over there? It's passing in that direction. Are you familiar with her story?
What's this story?
The story of Sadako and the 1,000 paper cranes?
No, I'm not actually.
I met the author of the book. If you're interested, I don't want to bore you with stories. They're going to hear it later anyway. So, Sadako was a girl, a middle school child, and she was a runner. Very talented as a runner. And many people thought, her coach thought, that she would be Olympic material. But about age 13, she was suddenly stricken. And although she had with leukemia, which was a result, she was a small child during the time of the bombing. And she made, there was a saying in Japan at the time, if you made 1,000 paper cranes, you know, and wished for recovery, that you would recover. And she had a very strong spirit about this. And she never made 1,000 cranes. She got up to like 800 or something. And after she died, but her strong will inspired all of her classmates. And after she died, they completed the 1,000 paper cranes, and they were very with her. So they compiled a book of remembrance called Kokeshi, named after those cylindrical wooden dolls, which she also liked very much. And that was translated by a Japanese woman who was a friend of a lady named Eleanor Kerr, who was a writer of children's books. And she was fascinated by this story of the spirit of this young girl. And so she came here to Hiroshima and met the family and talked to them and got permission to write the story. And that turned into a novel for upper elementary school, middle school children called Sadako and the 1,000 Paper Cranes, which has since been redone into a children's book as well, a children's picture book. But the longer form book is very interesting, and it tells the whole story. And so I started to talk to Eleanor Curry. She talked to me about Sadako and her family. And she said, you know, you're very, she says, I don't show this to everyone, but you seem so interested and so sincere. She pulled out a tin, you know, that you would keep throat lozenges and just some threads. And then she opened it up, and inside there were these little, about 2 dozen, little, tiny, perfectly made paper cranes. I mean, smaller than your fingernail. Little, tiny, tiny things, but so perfectly made, they look as if they would fly. And these were actually made by Sadako. And when the book was published, the family gave them to Eleanor Kerr, and she carried them with her all the time. And when you see these things, it's like they carry her spirit. It's quite amazing. They look like they're going to fly out of the box. And this is the kind of spirit that touched the hearts of everyone here in Hiroshima and touched the hearts of people around the world. So when you go over to that side of the park and you see the monument that they built to her, you will see thousands and thousands upon thousands of paper cranes sent from and brought by children from around the world who also have been touched by her story, and send them in the hopes that this kind of thing, atomic warfare, will never happen to children anywhere in the world ever again. That's our wish, that's our hope. And that's the message that Sadako left to the world. Hello, was it Watanabe Sensei? There's no answer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're most welcome. I'm sorry. Thank you. Watanabe Sensei, how are you? We are at Genbaku right now on our bicycles. In Hiroshima. Yes.